to the Couch where your mental health matters. This is your host, Dane, not your average therapist. Season 6, we're in the building. Coming back, like I said before, extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. And today we're honored and we have a special guest in the building on the couch who does it via Zoom, is an awesome therapist. What else do I want to say? She radiates energy even on social media. I definitely see I follow her. She does awesome work by what she posts. And a lot of times that's how we get to know people through social media. And she is definitely awesome in the building. I'm definitely appreciative of her being here today with me on the couch, sitting down. We're going to chop it up. We're going to have some fun, you guys. So get ready for this awesome show. And without further ado, let me introduce Ms. Kemi Huntley. Definitely appreciate you coming on the couch, Kemi. Appreciate it. So before we get into our topic for today, we definitely want to give her time to introduce herself, let y'all know who she is. If you don't follow her, then you'll definitely follow her after this episode for sure. So Kemi, take it away. Let me know a little bit about yourself, background. What prompted you to become a therapist? We ask all of our mental health professionals what prompted them to kind of get in the field. We kind of everybody has like their particular story. And I just wanted to kind of hear yours and what prompted you to become a therapist.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for inviting me. I appreciate that. So again, my name is Kemi Huntley. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor. Jesus Christ. So, right. And I'm also a mom of one. I have a boy, son, he is 3. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm also a wife. What else? Obviously a therapist. I'm also a servant. The list can go on. But I think a little bit about me, a Cancer. I'm a Cancer. Okay. I was born in Mississippi, but lived in North Carolina most of my life. I don't consider myself to have a country accent, though. So you let me know. But I don't know. Whenever someone asks me, tell me about yourself, I be wanting to hit bullet points because I don't know how much you want to know. But yes, all of my roles kind of tell you who I am in a sense. But I'm also definitely a self-care advocate. I really push that hard. But what prompted me to become a therapist was by chance. So I went to grad school for rehab counseling. And so that was my track. And I was in the vocational rehabilitation world. So I was helping people with disabilities find employment. And so I worked at an agency back in 2013. And my supervisor at the time was, asking me, hey, Kemi, have you ever thought about pursuing your LPC? I will be willing to pay for your supervision. As long as you're working for me, I will pay for that. And I was like, should I do it? And so I talked to a colleague and I was like, okay, I'll do it. So it was during that time of doing applications, talking to people, and then even having my first session that really kind of made me think that this is where I was supposed to be. So, yeah, that's how I became a therapist. That's what started that journey. I love it. I enjoy it. And I can't see me doing anything else right now. So.
Awesome. Well, definitely, I'm pretty sure your clients and all your colleagues definitely appreciate you, taking that jump into becoming a therapist, as you wouldn't be who you are today.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So self-care Belle, that alias, kind of give us a story behind that. Where did that come from? Everybody has their moniker, what they kind of go for, what's their thing, especially as a therapist. We want to, develop our own niche and our own background and how we want to be perceived, especially on social media. I have, not your average therapist. That's just
right.
Because I'm a little bit different because I'm, tatted up and I'm kind of cool. And, most therapists are perceived as being nerdy and these weird type of dudes. And, I'm totally opposite of that. So what made you kind of name yourself the self-care Belle?
So at the time I wasn't thinking about branding, but it really derived from my original t-shirt design. So you've already seen it. I'm Not Selfish is called self-care. And so I was like, well, I feel like it was time for me to change my Instagram handle. And so literally I said it's a short story. I was like, okay, let me think of something that incorporates self-care, and I'm a woman. Let me think of something catchy. So then I just kind of merged the two, self-care Belle, together and just let it be a thing. And so people like it. I like it. Yeah. So it was literally just an idea that kind of popped into my head. Yeah.
I like it. It's dope. It's very catchy, and your name is kind of synonymous with that. And as you continue, like you said, branding, that's what people remember you by. They may not remember your name,
Right.
but they'll definitely remember Self Care Belle. When you think of self care, is automatically going to go to you.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate that, and I appreciate what you're doing, what you're advocating for in regards to self-care, because it's very important, and we're definitely going to touch on that as well during this show. So our topic for today, again, we're just ordinary people like John Legend back in the day, but we're doing some extraordinary things out here in life and in the community as well. So I definitely wanted to kind of touch base on this, because me being a man, I may not know per se what it is to kind of maintain as a woman, because I'm not a woman. So I'm definitely appreciative of you coming on, and we're going to discuss, just what is balance, maintaining balance and all of those things. How can we better take care of ourselves, during this pandemic, during this whole shutdown, how can we continue in that within our new normal, because this is going to be a new normal for us. And how can we continue to maintain, especially for women as well. So I wanted to kind of talk about, first and foremost, what is your definition of balance? And is there a such thing? Is there a such idea of actually being balanced?
There is and there isn't. But my definition is being able to balance personal life, work life, and family life, in my personal opinion. There's this saying that I always say and I live by: if everything's important, nothing is important. So basically, I prioritize, if you're asking me. Sometimes I can't balance, and so I have to prioritize what's more important to me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. I like that quote. I'm gonna have to steal that one. We're gonna flash that across the screen. That's gonna be like a new hashtag right there.
Okay.
We're gonna do that for this episode for sure. So speaking about that, like, for people, I guess maybe in general, understanding just the day to day and trying to balance those things. And I get this often with my clients as well. Like, I don't know what balance is, or how to maintain that, because I'm pulled in so many different directions. For you as a woman, a professional, a friend, a wife, a confidant, and everything up underneath that, how would you suggest for women to kind of help maintain a healthy balance, especially during the pandemic, during COVID-19? How do they maintain that balance in relationships, children, becoming a part-time teacher or a full-time teacher at this point, and also just being able to maintain self-care as well?
Right. That's a pretty loaded question, but
That's what we do. We do loaded. So you can take that any way you want to go with it. I give you the floor on your response.
yeah. And the first thing that kind of struck out to me is, like, first we have to be able to obtain balance before we can maintain it. And so again, it can look like different things for different people. And so, like I said earlier, sometimes you just can't maintain balance or can't balance like how you want to. So what I say is, well, that just may mean you have to work on obtaining and completing these goals that you have. So maybe you can't find balance, but complete a goal. And so show yourself grace and do the best that you can. And I'm speaking from personal experience too. So I'm speaking to the women, but also men, to be honest with you. So showing yourself grace even when you can't obtain or maintain balance, and doing the best that you can. But then also, if I can obtain personal goals and complete personal goals, then that's still just as good. Now, during COVID, obviously, a lot of us are working from home. And so maybe we are stuck in the house with our partners or our kids. and whatever else is going on. And so you may just have to prioritize what's more important. And so as a mom, that's what I do. I prioritize what's more important. Obviously, my child is important. But if I have a client, I'm delegating. I'm seeing if I can get help. And so that's where I ask my husband, can you watch Roman for me? Or if I need help with something, I will ask for help. But I'm thinking about those moms who don't necessarily have the help, and they don't have a partner that they can say, hey, watch, so and so. Literally, you got to do the best that you can, but show yourself grace again. But then also, here's the thing. Your kid doesn't care about a perfect mom. Your kid cares about a happy mom. So how are you taking care of yourself? So are you eating healthy? Are you going outside? Are you exercising when you can? Are you sleeping when your child sleeps, taking a nap? So are you doing things to fill your cup in order for you to be the best version of yourself for your child and your family? Yeah, so that's what I think of.
Oh. Well, you definitely answered that quote unquote loaded question for sure. And just to piggyback off of that, for men, even during this time, there are a lot of emotional responses in regards to just the adjustment and the transition of being at home pretty much full time. If you have that type of job, of course, we have, our essential workers. And shout out to the essential workers that's been doing their thing this entire time for sure. We definitely appreciate that. But if you're working from home, it's a huge transition, for men as well. Whether you're talking about, being there 24/7 with your partner and kids, where you're used to that 8 to 10 hours or 8 to 12 hours of, being out, and kind of just doing your thing, doing your job, and then coming home and being able to, be in that particular routine. But there's an overall adjustment that everyone's kind of had to take on, during this COVID-19 in regards to making sure that we're maintaining ourselves, in the home.
Yeah.
What does it look like, working from home? And a lot of people struggle with that adjustment, being able to say, okay, I see my children over there. I got to fix lunch. I have to make sure they log in, to their classes or whatever the case may be. For younger kids, okay, they have nap time, they have snack, they have lunch, they have all these things that we normally wouldn't have to think of,
Right.
If we were working, so again, like you said, just being able to maintain, a priority list, what's most important at this particular time in this particular moment. And sometimes that balance may seem, weighted or unbalanced.
Right.
At some point in time, you may be that mom more so than you are a partner, or you may be the worker more than you are a mom, and those types of things. And like you said, giving yourself grace and understanding that it's not always going to go that particular way. You're not always going to be just the therapist, the worker, doing those 8 to 10 hours in back-to-back clients, or you're not going to be on conference calls and Zoom calls, all day, things like that. So understanding that, throughout time, it's going to change. And I always say the only consistent thing in life is change.
Right.
You just have to learn how to accept it in order to change our emotional responses to those changes,
Right.
But definitely it's one of those things that everyone, currently we're currently dealing with it, and hopefully, over the next month or two, we can get back to some type of normalcy. I don't foresee it being normal, but it's going to be a new normal for us. So for you, from your perspective as a woman, what would you consider maybe the consequences or the barriers for not being able to maintain that balance?
The first thing I identify is stress. It can look like stress manifesting into physical symptoms, which ultimately does affect our mental and physical health. And we know what happens when stress is left untreated. I mean, that could really be detrimental to us. But realistically, like I said before, I think if you're not able to maintain balance, it's probably a better option to pursue small goals. Like, let's break it down a little bit. If we can't actually do balance, let's at least try to complete small goals for the day. I mean, that's doing the best that you can. It's doing something. And making adjustments where you can. So even for me, like, I know it's probably not maybe the best practice, but like, if I know, again, I'm homeschooling my child too, I still got to feed him and stuff. I will let my client know, hey, do you mind if I'm 5 minutes late, to our virtual session? They're usually open to it, but that's me doing something in my day to make an adjustment where I see fit. And I'll just add 5 more minutes to their session, like, it's okay. So
absolutely, just being able to be flexible and fluid with this is one of those things. Like I said, just accepting that things are not going to go the way that you expect them to be, or the fantasy that you have in your head, the picture that you have in your head may not match the reality of a situation or how you may respond to something. So being able to be fluid and understanding, I mean, that goes a long way, even outside of just the virtual world and just due to COVID-19, but that's just overall just in life, being able to adjust, accept, and change in regards to that. And again, like, our clients have too been very flexible in that sense. And I mean, certain things are just out of your control. As much as we plan and organize, you have to give yourself room for things to not go the way that you want them to go, or planned. So, being able to understand that and being able to respond effectively goes well with maintaining, your mental wellness as well as your physical health. Because like you said, stress manifests in so many different ways, from anxiety to high blood pressure, diabetes, all these different things, heart issues, heart disease, all these things are linked to stress. And during this time, especially during this time, there's been an elevated rate of those symptoms, happening. I think I read it was over 40 to 50% as far as anxiety and stress level has increased in adults, as well as with children, during this time. So it's very important. I'm glad to have you on today to discuss these things, because we talk about maintaining during this quarantine and being able to communicate your feelings and all those things, and being locked down, having cabin fever, and now you're around your significant other or your partner all the time, and you realize that you really don't like them as much as you thought you did, because you need a break sometimes. You can't get that break, but being able to adjust and say, okay, I need my personal time. I'm used to having my personal time. I'm used to having my 45-minute or an hour drive home or something like that, to where I can decompress. But if I'm at home, I'm not able to necessarily decompress. So like you said, doing something that's specifically for you, whether that's taking that bubble bath or going for a walk or just sitting outside. And I do that daily. I do my grounding every day, maybe sometimes twice a day. I do it in the morning and in the evening as well, just to maintain some type of normalcy throughout all this, but most people just say, okay, I'm home, I gotta do this, and then they end up being stressed out, and they don't necessarily take the time to decompress or find that happy medium of being, a parent, a worker, and also self. Like you said, you can't pour from empty cups, so you have to make sure that you full in order to pour out positivity into other people, whether that be family members or consumers or friends or what have you. So that's definitely important. So just and again, we're talking about roles, and we're talking about self-care and maintaining balance, you guys. And for me, just in general, I'm not a gender specific type of person. I'm very fluid in a sense where I feel like some people may say, okay, well, that's a woman's job or this is a man's job. Doing this whole COVID-19 thing, it's kind of enmeshed a whole lot of different roles. Whereas, mom usually be the one that's cooking dinner because dad is out working a little bit later, but now he's home. All right. So we can take turns doing this thing. It's a partnership. So being able to be fluid and understanding is also important. So So what would you say for women to kind of help them, I guess maybe maintain that balance and being able to communicate to others in the home what it is that they need in order to maintain some type of balance? Because sometimes we kind of keep it inside and like, well, they should automatically assume I don't feel like cleaning up right now because I've been doing X, Y, Z. What would you say to that woman that's struggling, with maintaining that balance?
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what I said. I think first and foremost, like, you're not perfect and you're not going to do everything perfect. Like, show yourself grace. I mean, and if they have trouble communicating their needs and wants in the home, I guess if you're talking about maybe their partner.
Yeah, more specific. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's you can't assume that your partner can read your mind. Like, we know this about relationships. Like, that's just like a big no. So like being able to assert yourself and communicate your needs and wants, because if you don't, like, the resentment builds, and that's one of the we don't want that. But I think it's important to be able to communicate what you need and what you want. Like, give yourself permission to do that. Like, I don't, there's nothing wrong with that. And vice versa, if your husband or partner has a need and want, I'm hoping that he or she would be able to communicate that as well. So I think it's important that you just, in a sense, give yourself permission to do that because it's your right. And it's helpful for your mental health by doing that too. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, you definitely knocked it out the park with that one. So when maintaining, I guess, your balance as far as with children, because I have two small kids as well, and luckily, but unluckily, I guess, I have them every other week, so I feel it half of the time. Trying to maintain that balance of being dad, being a therapist, you know, doing everything I do on a platform, all those things, wears on me a lot because there are a lot of, long nights. So being able to balance, all right, like I got to get this pocket of time with my kids, but I also have to do this over here, but I also have to tend to work, those types of things, not necessarily in a relationship at this point to kind of say, okay, well, I need my partner. I need some quality time with my partner as well. So I guess that's kind of helpful for me. But in general, for in your aspect, just how do parents, especially women, how do they ensure that they balance or try their best to balance making sure they're maintaining a healthy connection with their children because they too are going through those same emotions of the uncertainty or the fear or feeling like they might get COVID or something like that, or just that overall anxiety that's came with this pandemic.
I think it's important, to kind of already know, I guess prepare in advance or prepare as much as you can, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
for that. Now, just like you would cultivate like relationships with your friends or significant other in the same way, take out time to intentionally spend time with them, I view it in the same way. So making sure that you create some space for them because they're going to need it, right? And I know that we are having to balance these different roles. But I always also say, you know, do things that you feel is more important. So you do the things that you have to do, but do the things that you want to do too. So your kids are of importance to you. You will, try to create space for them. Um, and I think as women, we kind of do a better job at balancing anyway. Like, we are great multitaskers.
Shots fired.
I mean, we find ways. I mean, we really do. Like,
Right. I'm just messing.
Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion. I just feel like we kind of do a better job at that. It's one of those things where it's almost like an obligation because we are such caring and nurturing emotional beings. And so we'll naturally want to, in a sense, do that for our kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I definitely feel like you guys are definitely the nurturers for sure, and the more emotionally connected, with the kids, whether you want to say that's biology or whatever the case may be. But definitely that's one of those roles to where you can't really say, okay, that's a a man's role, a woman's role type of thing. But overall, women are more of that emotional connection or connector with their kids versus fathers. And I guess like during this time that this allows fathers, that's normally out and about and kind of being the provider and the protector and things like that, they're allowed to assume this role a little bit more because we
Right.
are at home and being able to cultivate, like you said, that nurturing side of us because we all have it. It's just whether you tap into it or not. We all have that masculine and feminine energy. So being able to tap into that and say, okay, well, just because I'm a man, that doesn't mean I can't sit down on the floor and actually play with my children and have conversations and be able to express to them my stress or my worry and allow them to express that to me or feel comfortable expressing those things to me. Because normally kids going straight to mommy when they're hurt or they're feeling some type of way, they're going to mommy first. Then if mommy is unavailable, then it may go to dad. But it's a total different conversation when
Right.
it comes to dad. It's less emotional and more logic,
Yeah.
when it comes to dad. So it's like they want that emotional side more. So we have to be able to adjust and adapt in that, and hopefully during this time as men, we've been able to cultivate and understand what's needed, during this time. It may only be for a short time, but who knows? Again, this is our new normal. So we may end up having to be more of the emotional connector for kids because we may have some moms that's out there that's really essential workers and can't really necessarily be at home, but dad is. And we have to make sure that our kids are getting what they from an emotional level as well as a physical level. So
Right.
I'm definitely with you on that for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I've definitely been more of a nurturer
Right.
during this time because it's just, it's different and they feel the difference just as we do. They feel our energy, they feel our vibes, and they go off of that as
Right.
well. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
You mentioned the essential worker, which was a really good point, especially if you're a woman, and you're an essential worker and then trying hard to find time to spend with your kids or other family members. And realistically, you may have to make a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if we're
Mm-hmm.
being honest, because there's no, systematic way to necessarily do that, but you may have to make a sacrifice
Right.
for your kids or maybe your husband, even if you realize that, hey, I'm neglecting my role as his wife and he's noticing and he's getting irritated with me, so yeah, I see that too.
That's a difficult balance right there.
It
Being
is.
an essential worker, and I mean, not just a worker in general. And hats off to all the women that's doing it every day, no complaints, and still be able to kind of maintain a healthy relationship, kids, be a productive citizen, volunteer, do all the things that you guys do as women. Like it can be a lot, and it can be overwhelming at times. And like you said, it's like your moniker and your hashtag self care is the most important. You have to take care of yourself. So, take that 30, 45 minutes, even if it's an escape to the bathroom. I know a lot of people that's like their second
Yeah,
home within their home is the bathroom. They lock the door and whatever. They could just be sitting there like doing absolutely nothing just to kind of get away. So anything that you can do to kind of help facilitate that self care, and definitely do it. There's no rule book.
no, no.
I wish we did have a rule book. I'll be probably a billionaire right now. This is what you do, and it works.
Right.
Probably wouldn't see me on here, but it's important to find that time. And I tell my clients, every day find something that you want to do for yourself. Pamper yourself in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether that's getting you an ice cream cone or bubble bath or whatever, eating your favorite popcorn or watching your favorite TV show, something specifically for you every day.
Yeah. And every day, do something that makes you feel capable as a person. That's how you show up for yourself, even through the
Mm-hmm.
midst of chaos or uncertainty or whatever, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, again, you guys, we're talking about maintaining balance, self-care during COVID-19, after COVID-19, and addressing this new normal, gender roles in general. I'm not going to say the gender roles, but just roles in general, especially for women, but definitely men too, as well, understanding roles and being able to be fluid in those roles and customizing what works for your household and for yourself. Um, so again, we want to thank Miss Kemi Huntley for visiting us on the couch. Now your family. Now your family. So anytime you want to come on the couch, let me know. We make that happen. We sit on the couch together and chop it up. You can go to the fridge, get your own juice, all that stuff. You can go through the cupboards. You can do all that stuff. Once you're here one time, it's all off. You gotta get it yourself at that point.
Got it.
But definitely before we let you go, let people know how they can get in contact with you. Again, you guys have said she's an awesome therapist. If you're thinking of self-care and you want to help maintain your balance, you need to holler at her. But where can they find you at?
So on Instagram, you can find me at Self-Care Belle, self-care and BELLE. Should I give my counseling one too?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Promo. Like do all that.
Okay.
Yes.
And then my second page, which is my counseling page, is at Huntley Counseling Center. And then also you can check out my website, kemi.life, KEMI.life, and find out more information, Self-Care Belle, and the teas when they come back in stock, blogs, all of that. You can find me there.
Yeah. You got all that. You left all that out. So we gotta make sure we get all of that stuff. We got T-shirts, we got blogs, we got all that. You can catch on Instagram because I see her all the time. She's always doing live, you guys. She's always doing something. So you can definitely catch her at any moment in time speaking on self-care, maintain your mental health. Because why? Your mental health matters. That's our hashtag. Mental health matters. And everything that we do, involves our mental health, from our day to day to our relationships to whatever. Everything involves the mental. You can't go anywhere without your brain. So,
right. You can try.
So,
you can try. I was playing.
It won't work. It won't work. It won't work. So we all need that. So again, I definitely appreciate Kemi stopping by, dropping some jewels. Got to get those hashtags. I'm gonna make sure I put them on there. The new one that you just said. I forget. I'm gonna go back and rewind it, you guys.
Oh, I can tell you right now. If everything is important, nothing is important. Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay.
That one. That one. That's the one we need right there. Everything is important. Nothing is important. Got it. I got that locked in my memory bank. I'm using it. I'm already telling you, I'm using it. I'll give you a shout out for it. I'll give you the credit for it for sure. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to jack it like that. But I'm definitely going to use that just in the day to day. If I place high importance on everything, then really nothing is important because it's all on the same level.
Right. Facts.
Did it. Cool. Got it. Boom. Pow, pow. Shots. All that. Again, you guys, this is your host, Dane Dash, not your average therapist. I got my guest host, Kemi Huntley, a.k.a. Self-Care Belle, in the building. And we were talking about maintaining your sanity during this COVID-19, but also just maintaining roles and being able to understand what your role is. And it's okay to mess up sometimes. It's okay to be unbalanced.
Right.
It is.
Actually, okay.
And I'm a Libra. And I'm probably the most unbalanced Libra you'll probably ever know.
Oh, boy.
I try to get it. I try to maintain the balance, but, from a realistic standpoint, we're all a little bit unbalanced. So trying to get balance, that's a goal, to get there, which means we're striving towards that every day, which means that we are already unbalanced.
Right.
We're trying to get to it, to achieve balance. I just, from a personal perspective, I just don't feel like we'll ever achieve that because it's always going to be something. Something's going to lack. Something's going to get more attention. Something's going to be placed at a higher priority.
Right.
Doesn't mean that you love it less or you don't care about it.
Right.
It's just that in that moment, because we do want to focus in on the present, in that moment, That's what's important.
Right.
So we're all unbalanced.
Right.
New
If you
hashtag.
can,
We are
yeah,
all unbalanced.
yeah. If you can get to a balanced life, sorry, I'll be like, I'm trying to sneak it in. If you can get to a balanced life, that just honestly means that you have like mental fortitude. That's how I view it. Just like physical fitness or physical fortitude, it's the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Same thing. Wow. Well, you let me know what's the key to that. If you're able to fully maintain that on a daily basis, I need for you to like let me know that, like for
When I find out, I'll let you know.
real.
No, because like I said, like I don't personally believe that. I don't even use the word balance. I just say this is more important because I know for me personally, I can't maintain a fully balanced life because
Hmm.
I just don't think that's realistic for me. But
Right.
I show myself grace. But then, like, if I'm able to complete goals that
Hmm.
helps me have a
Hmm.
fully balanced lifestyle, then that's
Right.
fine for me. But like you said,
Absolutely.
something will lack because something is more important right now in this moment or in this season. So yeah, I
I
mean,
guess that's the balance. Knowing that it's going to do this, and that's considered balance.
ebbs and flow. If you can flow with that, honestly, that lets me
Hmm.
know that you're able to, I guess, maintain. If you can go with the ebbs and flow of life
Right.
and balance, you're pretty good. Like that's that mental fortitude right there.
Yes, absolutely.
So
You're like, well, okay, it is what it is. Let's move with it.
right,
Can't change it. Yeah. If you can't
absolutely.
change the situation, change your response to that situation.
Come on.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, got
Gosh, we just coming up with all these little jewels.
it. You
We're gonna
too.
have we're just gonna have all these hashtags.
I
Good
mean,
gosh. But again, you guys, of course, we went left for a minute. I was trying to close it out,
my
and we
bad.
just got right back into it. But it happens on the couch. That's just what we do, and we're not governed by nobody. We do what the hell we want to do here on the couch.
Facts.
All right, you guys. But again, season 6, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We had an extraordinary guest today, Miss Kemi Huntley, Self Care Belle. She was in the building, dropping jewels, dropping knowledge. Make sure you guys check her out. Follow her on IG. Check out the website. Check out the blogs. Check out everything she got going on. Cause it's a lot. We trying to get that key to maintaining this ebb and flow that she's talking about. So
Right.
check her out if you want that. 'Cause I'm definitely gonna check her out for sure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Yes, yes, absolutely, you guys. Well, again, look out for the next episode. New exciting guests, different topics. You just never know who you're gonna see on the couch next. You just never know. I may have a porn star on here one day.
Wait
You
a
just
minute.
never know.
And I believe you too.
Yes, you should. You should, cause I'm connected with a whole bunch of people.
I
So
bet.
yeah,
I
it,
bet.
it, it, it may happen. It may happen. You just never know. You just gotta stay tuned and see what's popping. All right, you guys. Well, I'm definitely check y'all. Dane Dash, not your average therapist. Checking out. I got my girl, Miss Kemi Huntley, over there. Definitely, I appreciate it. Salute to you, my queen, for sure. I'll definitely get with you soon. And again, you guys, this is Couch for Your Mental Health Matters. So can we talk for a bit? All right, we're gonna holler at y'all. All right, peace.